JP Media is a religious-based, non-profit media resource company. It began selling books in the living room of its founder, and in the 12 years since then, it has expanded its operations to distributing a greater range of products, organising fundraising events, and hosting international speakers across Australia. We have interviewed two members of JP Media. Firstly, we interviewed Matthew, the operations manager for the Sydney office, followed by Christopher, a director in Melbourne. This gained valuable insight to understand how the organisation operates and inquires what tactics to overcome issues are being undertaken already. This company is unique in that its focus is not profit, but spreading the values to as many people as possible. They view profit not as an outcome, but as a means to further their ability to influence the population. Because of this, the organisation consists of like-minded employees who are all dedicated to the company mission. JP Media operates under the belief that they should be doing everything in their ability to spread the message. Instead of being comfortable and working on projects within their means, they are often overstretched and under-resourced. The underlying theme at the heart of many issues that JP Media faces is this under-resource factor, which affects employees' stress, attitudes, and motivation. Stress is a part of life and has proven to be evolutionary adaptive in responding to threats. Some stress is necessary to provoke action and act as a catalyst for change. Finding an optimal level of stress, the activation stage, is crucial to the effective operation of an organisation, as too much stress can affect the health of employees and hinder productivity. Prolonged stress can cause exhaustion on a person's nervous system, termed the general adaptation syndrome. Extended stress can lead to implications, physiologically in increased fatigue and blood pressure, psychologically in higher rates of anxiety and depression, and contribute negatively to work outcomes. Work outcomes of prolonged stress relates to poorer job attitudes, high turnover, and decreased performance, including role performance, low organisational commitment, and therefore less organisational citizenship behaviours. JP Media has a problem in properly managing stress levels of employees. The most applicable theory of organisational stress is role overload. This occurs when there is insufficient time and resources to carry out tasks. In our interviews, Chris stated, if we have too much on, then we could just stop providing some of the services and then people miss out on hearing our message. This shows that scaling back is not an option for the company, as they are committed to getting their message out, even when it overloads their staff's capabilities. The interview with Matthew showed this as well. We don't often have the resources to do what we do, and that's a strain on all of us, and we feel that from the management down. And how this is affecting the increasing turnover. He said, there have been years gone by that there have been people that have come and gone because they can't handle the stress and because we are under such limited resources. Current practices to tackle this stress problem are not effective. Chris said they usually take responsibilities away from those who are overly stressed. I can think of 1 or 2 people that were stressed out, so we've had to basically say, just do what you can, and we've taken the overloading, stressful jobs off them and cut back on a lot of things because people in the organisation were showing signs of stress and couldn't cope with it. And Matthew said there was some informal network of stress management in relationships between co-workers that he hopes would help managing stress, saying, there's someone that you could basically talk to, probably. Stress is contagious and can have long-term health effects and can hinder work productivity. Therefore, it is critical for JP Media to tackle stress and well-being of their employees in order to become a more effective organisation.
The second problem we have identified is job satisfaction level in JP Media. And there are 3 components in job satisfaction: affective component, cognitive component, and behavioral component. As mentioned previously, JP Media is under-resourced, and it's a not-for-profit organization, and there's no formal programs for employees' well-being. That implies that the affective state is not really well looked after. As a result, cognitive and behavioral components are affected negatively as well. In similar under-resourced, understaffed scenarios in healthcare and education sectors, it is proposed that building intrinsic, emotional, and social rewards, providing housing, healthcare benefits, improving working and living conditions are really effective in helping employees stay or increase their job satisfaction level. These serve as very good guidelines, but we need to be aware that JP Media is not a public institution. Therefore, it doesn't really have that much support. Job design is also an issue at JP Media. From the interviewer told that employees at JP Media prefer a more stable and less intense job outlook. So as mentioned before, without proper care on their mental well-being, this job design could potentially lead to some negative effect on people's affective components on their job satisfaction level, hence further impacting on their belief on the job, which is the cognitive components of job satisfaction. And eventually, this could lead to certain counterproductive behaviors, which is the behavioral component. There have been many specific guidelines in the literature, such as an enriched job design, which means more autonomy or variety in job design, or a similar concept called high involvement job design. These are some of the designs proposed to increase job satisfaction level. Overall, JP Media's job satisfaction issues come mostly from its hard constraints. It's being under-resourced, doesn't really have much support. So this has irrevocably resulted in limitations of the design of its jobs, hence prompting us to think very carefully and creatively in the problem-solving process.
JP Media staff is comprised like-minded people who are all personally invested in the company doing well. Since they do not measure the success in profit, but rather the scope of their message being spread to the public, this presents itself with a rather unique perspective and problem with employee motivation. There is no doubt that the employees are all motivated to some degrees towards JP Media doing well. They are often working beyond their means to try to reach their brand even further than what they reasonably should be able to do with such limited resources. Chris and Matthew have both referenced how invested the employees are to the company mission, with Matthew giving evidence that people are often overly ingrained in their work that they forgot to take lunch breaks. This is not a reasonably long-term plan as workers become fatigued and the quality of work may become affected. This suggests a long presence of intrinsic motivation for employees. However, there is an absence of external motivation. Employees are internally motivated by self-desire for the company to perform well. However, there is little extrinsic motivation in rewards or avoiding punishment, as there is no room for career development in such a small company. According to the expectancy theory, the effort combined with instrumentality and balance shows some disconnect. First of all, employees will ask themselves if their effort will lead to high performance. While the current staff all have adequate skills and knowledge, as well as an environment that facilitates performance, there is little tangible proof that their effort will make a difference. The next part of the theory states whether their performance will lead to outcomes. JP Media does not inform people about the rewards specific to each task completion. Finally, the rewards are desirable to employees as they are in line with the personal beliefs in the outcome of their work as an organization. But as a whole, it may not seem a just reward as there is little room for their professional growth. Another way of the motivation for JP Media becomes an issue in that there is a lack of formal feedback or tangible proof of employee efforts. Where most companies can measure success in profit margins and quarterly meetings, JP Media cannot measure itself by the same standards. Currently, Matthew states, employees are motivated when they receive feedback from customers or clients who write to say thank you for the work they have done and how it influenced their life. While this is a strong effective feedback, it is not consistent and therefore should not be relied solely on the motivating employees.
For the stress problems, firstly, they should use the task prioritization. By using Eisenhower matrix, they should categorize and determine the importance as well as the urgency of each task. Number one, they should finish the most important and urgent task first. Since the current condition is do what you can do, should be changed into do the most important and most urgent thing first. And then they should schedule the less urgent but still important tasks for later. Then they should delegate any task that is less important but still urgent. And then number four, they should leave any activity that is distracting the job focus, like social media, gaming, and any other procrastination temptations. And then for the long-term recommendation, we recommend to construct job redesign related to job demand and job resource. We propose 5 core job characteristics that not only potentially help the employees to cope with the job strength by increasing the job resource, but also improve their job motivation. For the first is skill variety. So the staff should perform a variety of related tasks rather than being restricted to a single repetitive task, so they will be more satisfied and committed. And second is task identity. The staff should complete the whole project task along with identifiable work unit. Then everyone will feel more integrated and the strain associated with repetitive work is diminished. Number 3 is task significance. The staff should have the opportunity to witness the impact of their hard work of the society. And number 4 is job autonomy. So every single staff should have their authority to choose and decide how and when the work will be done. And number 5 is about feedback. The management should communicate their expectation more clearly and give the staff the opportunity to receive information on the success of task accomplishment.
There are several areas that JP Media can focus on to support employees and provide a feeling of fulfillment to them. The firm can offer training in new skills and knowledge to the staff so that they become fit for new jobs laterally instead of vertically. This would address the employees' insecurity about post JP Media career. The firm can develop and implement learning opportunities that takes place throughout the employment in the firm. So this gives the employees a feeling that they are continuously developing themselves and not becoming stagnant. The firm can develop cross-team and boundary learning with other sister organizations and related professions to support career development. Both the interviewees mentioned examples of former employees going on to develop their own, start their own companies. They've also mentioned how this is not a competitive space and that JP Media works closely with other organizations in this area. So giving employees a chance to work with the other companies would give them a feeling of broadening their experience and improve their job prospects in the future. The firm could also share their vision of the firm's future plans and development with the employees. This would give them a sense of investment and would address the disconnect that often comes with working on a low level and immediate tasks. So the advantages for the individuals are an increased sense of fulfillment, confidence, and a higher degree of marketability both within the organization and in the external job market. Employees would thus have a tendency to think of JP Media as a valuable place to work and for them to invest their time and effort, even if there is some uncertainty about job stability.
JP Media would benefit from introducing components of goal-setting theories. These goals would lead to high performance, and in order to effectively set goals, a criteria should satisfy the SMART acronym: specific, measurable, aggressive, realistic, and time-bound. The goals should be specific. Vague goals are not effective in motivating employees. Specific goals, such as reaching 10,000 people on Facebook advertisements, is a clear goal outcome. They should be measurable. JP Media does not currently have any formal unifying measure, such as profits, so setting a measurable goal would vary depending on job task. For example, selling 1,000 tickets in a fundraising event. Aggressive. The goal must be competitive to induce motivation among the staff. The goal must also be realistic. The goal must be attainable in order to reasonably be achieved within the company means. And finally, the goal must be time-bound. Goals must have some specific bound date to be completed to ensure employees are working towards something that is time-sensitive. According to the 1974 Steers and Porter article, effective goal-setting principles involve clarity. Set up clear and measurable goals with a specific timeline for completion. They should challenge. JP Media already has a decent level of difficulty in motivating employees, but they need to provide enough resources to achieve these goals. They should have commitments. Goals should be set by individuals rather than designated, so employees are more committed towards achieving them. There should be feedback. Setting up a proper method of receiving information helps employees progress towards a goal. This feedback can be in the form of self-evaluation, making the employees judge his or her own performances against a predetermined criteria, a peer review, if they can make peer review groups and start monthly progress reviews without participation from management, in monthly meetings, bringing managers and employees together to review performance of each employee and the organisation as a whole, and in yearly reviews. Monthly performance reviews should provide a comprehensive look at an employee's performance by pulling feedback from outside sources as well. By setting realistic, specific and achievable goals, the employees of JP Media will be more highly motivated to work harder in the company as they can see the results of their labour more clearly. As you can see, JP Media is not immune to managerial problems that can hinder the efficacy of the organisation. Their main problems are to do with working within limited resources available and high turnover rates. This affects the stress and well-being of employees within the company, the attitudes and job satisfaction of employees, and can lead to demotivating the staff. To combat this, our main recommendations on moving forward for JP Media would be improving well-being by prioritising goals, improving attitude by offering continuous opportunities to improve, and increasing motivation through goal-setting theory. With these improvements, JP Media will be able to generate a more satisfying work environment while still working within the company goals and being cost-effective solutions.